The Bahrain Grand Prix just went down last weekend. We got to see some amazing performances and some really bad luck on the track. But there was one team that, despite not finishing at the top, stood out and took the whole Formula One world by storm. Yes, we're talking about the American Formula One team named Haas F1. But the team's performance would have left a sour taste in the mouth of their former driver, Nikita Mazepin. Keep watching as we talk more about Haas's fairy tale start to the season and the axing of Nikita Mazepin. First, the dream start. Out of all the teams that were on the grid on Sunday, Haas was the one team that surprised everyone. They had a pretty shaky start as they dropped one of their biggest sponsors, Uralkali, founded by the Russian billionaire oligarch Dmitry Mazepin, whose son also raced for the team as part of the contract. But Kevin Magnussen's comeback would have made all those worries fade away as the Danish driver tore up the track on race day, giving the team their first points since 2020. This was an unimaginable result for the team, given the circumstances that they were faced with just a few weeks ago. Haas was a team in dire straits after the 2020 season. Even before that, they struggled a lot to keep their place in the midfield. The team didn't have any finishes in the top 10 last season. Magnussen, however, seems to have turned things around for them for the better. With his incredible P5 finish in the opening race of the season, he picked up 10 points for Haas. This must have been a heartbreaker of a race for the Mazepin family, especially Nikita Mazepin. Haas, on the other hand, was overjoyed with the outcome of the race. And why wouldn't they be? They've waited for this for a long time. However, nothing truly captures the sheer emotions of the team than the words of their team principal, Gunther Steiner, who after the race congratulated Magnussen with the words, "Kevin, that was some effing Viking comeback." Steiner talked to the press after the race, discussing the team's performance, calling it a very good day for the whole team, congratulating the team for doing a fantastic job, and thanking them for keeping their heads high for the past 2 years. Magnussen himself was quite surprised with how eventful the whole weekend had been for him and his team. Talking to the media after his gorgeous finish, he said that the craziness continues. Saying that he was at a loss for words, he added that he was really happy with how the race went and was satisfied with the car's performance. Now, with that out of the way, it's time to talk about what circumstances led to Mazepin's suspension from the team. Next, why was Nikita Mazepin with Haas? Magnussen's return and Haas's fairy tale start to the season were only made possible by the sacking of their former driver, Nikita Mazepin. Mazepin joined the team in 2021 when Haas was in dire straits. The team was struggling both on the track and financially. They weren't winning races, and in a sport that is pretty unforgiving to small teams, were left hunting for sponsors. But there's a catch. Those sponsor contracts came with conditions, and that's where Nikita and his father come in. Uralkali, owned by Uralchem, is a Russian chemical and mining company that is partly owned by the Russian billionaire tycoon Dmitry Mazepin, father of Nikita Mazepin. With Formula One being as expensive as it is, contracts with package deals aren't anything new. In fact, it's pretty common in the modern-day sport for talented drivers to bring sponsors with them in an attempt to climb to the top. Lance Stroll is the most popular example, with the Canadian driver racing for Aston Martin, a team funded by his billionaire father, Lawrence Stroll. Now, we're not denying that Lance isn't talented. He certainly proved us all wrong on that front time and again with his performances. So, considering all of that, if you're a team like Haas that's struggling to stay afloat, you would take any funding that comes your way, regardless of the deal attached to it. And that's exactly what they did, sacrificing their more experienced drivers in Roman Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen to make space for the Ferrari-sponsored junior driver and F2 2020 champion Mick Schumacher, son of the 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher, and Nikita Mazepin. And now Nikita's unremarkable record. But the problem with Nikita, bluntly speaking, is that he isn't talented. Sure, he brings in the big bucks, but truly, at what cost? Mazepin didn't have the best of reputations before his appearance in F1, not just on the track, but off of it as well. He's most famously known for his attack on Callum Ilott in Hungary at a Formula 3 meeting, for which he was banned from one race. Then, during his 2-year run in Formula 2, he was penalized 15 places after causing a horrible collision that put Nobuharu Matsuhita in the hospital. He finished 5th in the standings in 2020 with 6 podiums and 2 wins. That is impressive, but not enough to warrant him a promotion from Formula 2, considering the potential of the drivers who were ahead of him in the rankings. But there's not a problem that money can't fix, right? So let's talk about Nikita's arrival in Formula 1. Right before his debut on the grid, he went public with an Instagram post of him groping a girl in a car. The team had to come out and condemn the driver's disgusting behavior, with Mazepin also following suit and issuing an apology. But no further action was taken against him. Following these events, the Russian driver didn't get the warmest of welcomes when he was announced as the new driver for the team. He entered the season with the viral hashtag #WeSayNoToMazepin doing rounds all over the internet. Responding to the hashtag, he said that he'd let his racing do the talking. Now, Haas didn't have the best of cars for 2021. Considering their situation before the season, season, it was pretty hard to build a car that could be competitive on the track. Both Haas drivers seemed to have trouble getting to grips with their car. Mazepin more so than Schumacher. He failed to be competitive against even the driver that was in the same car as him, finishing ahead of the German driver only 3 times throughout the season. His record during qualifying wasn't anything to write home about either, qualifying with an average deficit of 0.9 seconds, the worst record on the grid. Mazepin went so far as to blame his car's design for his unremarkable performances. During mid-season, there were reports that Mazepin was unhappy with the chassis of the car, complaining about how it was heavier than Schumacher's. A new one was built for him on his father's funding, and though that did improve his performances a bit, it still wasn't enough to change his season around. His highest finish was P14 throughout the season, ending up at 21st in the rankings, falling behind the reserve driver Robert Kubica from Alfa Romeo. Up next, Nikita Mazepin's sacking. Now, we don't think it comes as a shock to anyone that Nikita Mazepin was axed by Haas for this season. His performances didn't really warrant him a spot in the first place. It was pretty obvious that Haas would be looking to make a change in their driver lineup this season, and the Russia-Ukraine war didn't make things any better for Mazepin. Following the events of Russian aggression in Ukraine, sanctions were levied against them, not just by other countries, but also by big organizations and conglomerates. With sanctions affecting the team's Russian-based sponsor, Haas decided to end their contract with the company. The Mazepin family's close ties with Vladimir Putin didn't do their partnership any favors either, and since the sponsorship and Nikita Mazepin came as a package deal, they also ended as one. Mazepin found out about his termination from the team in a press release that was posted on the internet. Uralkali, the team's former sponsor, announced that it would take legal action against the team over the money it already paid for this year's season. Oof, it really has been a rough couple of months for the Mazepin family. Lastly, K-Mag's return and Haas's future. Following Mazepin's exit from the team, Haas brought back their former driver into the fold. Magnussen raced for Haas from 2017 to 2020, with only one podium to his name for the team during his run. He might not be the fastest guy on track, but he consistently delivers and hardly fails to come home without any points. After the suspension in 2020, he went to race an IndyCar, and now he's back with the team after spending a year away. Having K-Mag come back into the team with his experience has brought a huge sigh of relief to Haas. With Magnussen's on-track expertise and Schumacher's raw talent, it gives the team an opportunity to rebuild themselves and come back stronger than ever this season. And we're already seeing signs of that rebuilding. Magnussen's performance in the opening race of the season was in no way a fluke. With the improvements that Haas has made to its car this season and the confidence with which Kevin drove in qualifying, it gave the team one of the fastest lap times of the day. It really does seem like Haas is going to have an amazing season this time around. We wish the team good luck and hope they have an amazing season. And that's a wrap for this video. We'll see you in the next one.